And tonight we've learned that a man in Connecticut is going to get out of prison early today. President Obama gave 72 more inmates a second chance at life. This round, as we said, a New Haven man doing a small crime.
Yeah, Bob Wilson has been following this story for us. He has the latest for us live tonight. Bob?
Yeah, William Baldwin. He was arrested for about more than 50 grams of cocaine on his possession. He was rounded up in Operation No Nonsense, where they came in, they swept him up after an undercover investigation. He was taken to court. He decided to try it. He was found guilty amongst his peers, sentenced to 20 years behind bars. He was scheduled to get out about 10 years from now until Obama stepped in.
Back in 2007, William Baldwin was convicted of possession of cocaine. Court documents say when police arrested Baldwin, more than 50 grams of cocaine fell out of his pants. He was sentenced to 20 years behind bars, and now President Obama has commuted his sentence, and Baldwin will be back on the streets in 2018.
He was a cool person. He looked out for older people in the streets. He made sure it was all good. He was a nice person. He gave the kids ice pops and all that. He was a cool person.
Annisty Washington says her father knows Baldwin and they live in the same neighborhood where Baldwin was arrested. She believes 20 years for dealing drugs is too harsh a penalty and believes President Obama is doing the right thing.
I think it's a good idea because he probably learned his lesson and he's not going to do that again. I know he's not going to do that again. I really think that he's going to change.
It was just about 10 years ago that William Baldwin was arrested here on the corner of Edgewood and Norton. Because of the amount of cocaine found on him, he should have only gotten 10 years behind bars according to the mandatory minimums. However, because he had a conviction in his past, it upped the sentence to 20 years. And that's why Obama's going back and looking at some of these cases. He says it's just too much for too little of a crime.
The pendulum has swung. In the 80s, mandatory minimums were really big because of the prevalence of crack cocaine and crime, but it's come to be thought that maybe the penalties were too harsh, and President Obama is big on reducing what is considered by some to be very harsh punishments.
Knight says just because Baldwin is given an early get-out-of-jail-free card, his sentence was only commuted, cut short. He did not receive a full presidential pardon.
A pardon is a forgiveness of the crime totally. It actually wipes out the conviction. A commutation is just lowering, reducing, or eliminating the penalty. It doesn't take away the fact of conviction.
That means that is still on his record. As a matter of fact, once he does get out, one of the conditions of that shortened sentence is he has to check into a residential drug treatment center. Back to you, Darren, Ann.
All right, Bob Wilson for us live. Thank you, Bob.